What is poppin', MFL Nation? Terry Battles and I are both wearing white. Not sure what that means. He's got his real olive tree in the background from his yeah, and we're ready to do the show.
Let's go. You missed a lot of MFL action this weekend, eh?
I did. I gotta say, I love the fact that you could follow on your phone because I wasn't following Thunder Buddies because that game was at 9 and I was kind of sleeping at the time, but MFL for life. But yeah, it wasn't the same. Wasn't the same.
Yeah. We had a bunch of games. I was there for a lot of them. A lot of crazy games. Can't wait to get into it. In all three leagues, actually. Playoff implications. Speaking of the playoffs, playoff schedule was communicated to all captains, posted on the MFL players page, and even for Montreal and Brossard, we updated the art. We put a little section in the articles there. So no excuses. You should know exactly when the playoffs are, when you're playing, and all that. Um, yeah. So if you have any questions, let us know. If a game's scheduled, we're not moving the game. Don't even try about that. Um, Besides that, we're still looking for referees and scorekeepers. If you're interested in learning how to referee and or scorekeep, let me know. It's pretty simple. We train you. We train you properly. There's a clinic. There's an exam. There's on-field training. There's a lot of feedback that's given. So it's like don't worry if you have no idea how to do anything. You just have to want to and read the rule book, and then we can help you with the rest.
Like if I can ref, we all can ref.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else? Before we get into it.
We weren't all at LeBaire the past weekend, eh?
Half LeBaire, half Terrier. But this upcoming weekend will be all at LeBaire.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear.
All right, let's get right into it. Feeling generous. I'll let you choose the order of the divisions. Hopefully, you won't forget any.
Okay, nice. Let's go with D3 and move up.
Division three. You see my screen?
Yeah, bless.
Our boy Jonathan Evan leading the division in passing yards there. So before we get into the games, let's take a quick look at the standings. You see that CIA Fusion cementing themselves at the one seed. Um, Drama Club, Secure Top Shooters, Turf Ninjas, all in a playoff position with the same record. Arnold's just one game behind. I think that means Blitzing Bastards and Sourpuss are officially eliminated from the show, unfortunately. Um, what else do we got here? So yeah, we look at the games that happened this past Saturday. Obviously, didn't see any of them. Hold on.
Yeah.
But so I caught a few glimpses of this one, and Simon Valiquette wasn't there. You had Benjamin Denis filling in at the quarterback position, and he seemed to have played a pretty, like, I'll say a great game considering that he's never thrown at most of these players. He's throwing in Division Three, I think, for the first time ever, and he probably did it unexpectedly at the last minute. Well, he threw 7 passes back in 2021. He threw a game for Red Cats in the spring. Didn't go so well, but yeah, I saw 3 of his throws, and they were like actually like I was really impressed with him, and I was like, wow, maybe Budget Cats could use him on their team in Division Five to maybe get that first win. But Nicolas Sanson getting all 4 of his touchdowns, 4 of his 6 catches going for touchdowns here. Um, but it was CIA Fusion and Slipinski that had the upper hand in this game. 11 runs for 35 yards. Preslav getting a sack. Jarrett with a pick. Greg D'Alessio shot out 4 sacks in this game. Ben Lepetier and Pierre-Alexandre Bana with a pick each. So was this game ever close? It was close-ish. Drama Club actually came within 2 points early in the second half. But yeah, this was a big game for both teams, right? Drama Club needed the win to secure themselves in a playoff position. CI Fusion wants to win because they want that one seed. Yeah.
Big game from Kayla, like the go to girl for Saplitsky.
Yeah. 8 for 79, 2 touchdowns. They also had Connor with 2 touchdowns. Jason 4 for 30, a touchdown himself. Uh, yeah. Uh, I I don't know what Gregory Spino was complaining about during halftime, but it was pretty funny, so I'll mention it. First, you had Owe refing the game, who's like probably the best MFL official we have, right? Like it's not even arguable. Like I think he's hands down one of the best refs we have, and he told him in a polite way to like shut up. He didn't actually say shut up. He just like stop complaining or like kind of give him a warning before throwing an unsportsmanlike conduct. Because I was watching the other game and I was just like chilling on the bench because our halftime was started earlier, so I was watching the end of the first half there. And the guy cut, and I was with Avery, who was refing with me the other game. And the guy comes sits next to us, and he continues bad mouthing the refs, and he said like a something towards all refs sitting next to two referees. And that's when he just threw the unsportsmanlike penalty. And I'm like, man, like he literally told you don't say anything else, or else you're gonna get one, and you continue. And I remember the few of the games, the guy has a great attitude. So yeah, I'll just say respect the officials. Like already, like without the officials, there won't be a game, or at least the game won't be as fun or as competitive. So just respect the officials, and if they tell you uh, if you say something else, you're gonna get flagged for it. It's probably not a bluff.
That no, just add to your point. Again, it's not like Gregory at all. Like I've always complimented him on his great attitude towards like his teammates, the other team, the officials. So maybe
Yeah,
didn't get much
we all
sleep
have
that.
bad days. Then another game I refed was the Ducks Sour Puss, but it's are they playing a rematch? Oh man. Yeah, I did the Ducks Sourpuss and it was chirpy and it got heated and they're playing again this upcoming Saturday. Oh boy. So Sourpuss were winless at this point, right? They had that one win that came at the hands of a forfeit victory, forfeit loss finally. Um, Look, they really impressed me in this game. Ducks one of the better teams in the division, and they were going toe to toe with them, right? It was back and forth, and then it was just towards the end where Ducks get that extra 1 point to take a 7 point lead because it was 6 point lead tie, 6 point lead tie, and it was really back and forth the whole game. And Jesse Patterson's like a really good quarterback. Like he looks like a quarterback, whether he's throwing or running with the ball. Émilie Carrier, absolute baller, 5 for 88, 2 touchdowns. He had some pretty good ball distribution. Like this is it boggled my mind refing this game how this team has no wins on the season because they really had a great game this past Saturday against this Ducks team who's like Ducks are a really good team as well, right? And yeah, obviously full of ballers, right? Like look at the ball distribution there. You have four different guys with a touchdown: Antoine, Ben Faubert, Nicolas, and Steve, each with a touchdown, each with at least three receptions. Great ball distribution by Dave. Obviously, he has a plethora of weapons, right? So it's like it makes your job easier as a quarterback when you have so many great players you could rely on. And I think Ducks are loaded for like a potential deep playoff run there. Um, yeah, Antoine Bussière getting 2 picks, Nicolas with a sack. But yeah, I'm surprised that Sourpuss, maybe it's the adjustment to different rules because he definitely played in other leagues before, right? I think it's the Talbot League, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think the rules are all that different, but some differences there. But look, I think this team would have probably been like a witching hour type team in Division 4 and been killing everybody. So I don't think they were in the wrong division. But yeah, it's a little too late. But they could get their revenge on Ducks this Saturday, right? And Ducks are battling for that bye spot. So like if Ducks lose that game, maybe they lose their chance of getting that first round bye. So Sourpuss still have something to play for.
Yeah, and sure. Like, look, even when they're officially out, right? Because Drama Club has 4 wins, so yeah, so that means, like you mentioned earlier, Blitzing Bastard, Sourpuss have unfortunately are eliminated from playoff contention. But like you said, big game to get revenge on Ducks. And yeah, I agree with you. I haven't watched a ton of the games from Sourpuss,
Yeah, I've been
but
around a ton, so
that yeah, that is true. But I've caught a few, and they do like they're an organized bunch. And it's not a team that you would like you said that would expect to be 0-7. They still have scored 117 points on the season, which is not bad for a team that doesn't have a win. But for Ducks, is it a little bit like kind of like college football. You know, when a team doesn't blow out another team, they should. Is it a knock on them, or a win's a win, and Ducks will take
Well,
it.
I can't really say Ducks played poorly in that game. I just think Sourpuss played a really great game. Maybe
Hmm.
Ducks took them lightly, seeing the record before the game. I don't know. Speaking of college football, how about that Bama loss?
How about that Bama loss? Who else lost? My
That's the
gosh,
most important one.
yeah, true. That is
Three
a
apiece.
good point. A bunch of top 10 seeds went down.
Ducks do have sick uniforms. Have you seen their jerseys?
Yeah, they're like Oregon Ducks.
Yeah, they're really really nice. Um, that's about it. I didn't see any other D3 games, but I do want to talk about this Arnold's Tropic Thunder win because we saw Arnold's on the outside looking in. Had they not won this game, their playoff hopes could have been like dead right there, right? So huge win for them against Red Hot Tropic. Well, maybe not as Red Hot Tropic Thunder, but almighty Tropic Thunder. They were without their quarterback, so Rob Boyd had the chance to step in at the quarterback position here. Not getting the dub, throwing 3 interceptions. Is not very Rob White like. Um, but John, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, 22 for 30, 285 yards, 3 1-point converts. Is this the breakout game of the season that's going to propel the Arnolds into a playoff spot?
Yeah, well, look, we talk about Tropic Thunder. I believe that's their um, third straight loss now. I believe.
No, I
Um,
think they won one in between.
okay,
Yeah, 3 out of 4. Yeah, three of
good,
the last 4. They beat the Blitzing Bastards.
good call. So a bit of a slide there for them, but yeah, Iron Wolves, huge victory. Like you said, only one game out of a playoff spot. It's going to be tough because, like you say, talk about the standings now. I'd be curious to see the Iron Wolves schedule. But very well could be sitting at 3-4, only one game out of a playoff spot. Josh has been playing lights out for both Iron Wolves teams, and even for his Phoenix squad. So they're riding the hot hand there. Lucas with 10 catches. This is good. I'm happy for. We needed to see a game like this from John. Just a clean game. Not a ton of yards, but the TD ratio to interception ratio being good. And I'd say right now it's 50 for them making the playoffs, even though they're outside looking in.
Yeah, yeah, I saw 2 interceptions, but Josh also threw a pick in this game. It's not showing in the box score, I believe, because he didn't have a completion. I think only when you have a completion, it shows in the box score. But yeah, John relying heavily on Josh and his snapper Lucas, but also getting everyone involved. I think you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players touching the ball in the end zone here with either a touchdown or a convert attempt. So good on John for that. So what division do you want to go to next?
Go to Div 2.
Man, looking at the Div 2 standings. So we know that Respect demolished Tigres the week before, and then Tigres come out with a vengeance and demolishing Average Joe's this week. They get the beating out of it. Tigres still on the outside looking in, tied with Bin. Look how tight that standings is right now. That rejects over Thunder Buddies win was huge. Like the difference between 5-3 and 4-4 is not just one game. It feels like in the standings right now. It feels like it's like you have a bigger advantage of just being one game up on the others, right? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, because then you have the tiebreaker, right?
Yeah. And like just looking at the scores here, this division, you look at the standings, it seems so tight. Like there's so much parity in it, right? Like the worst team has 3 wins. Like when do you see that in a division where the worst team of the division has 3 wins with 2 games still remaining? Like I think that's like never before seen, right? Like if the last place team in your division can finish with 4 victories, like that's crazy, no, to me. And the
Well,
best team, go ahead.
no, so I was gonna think about it. That Phoenix is dead last, and they're half a game out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, it's and Respect and Rejects, where the top 2 teams have 2 and 3 losses, and Respect has still 3 games to go. So you'd think that like all these games are super tight and like all within a score, but you look at the games this past weekend, and it was blowout after blowout. So I don't get how this makes sense. 40-14, 53-30, 45-18. Okay, they got a one-score game in Phoenix Villains. 25-12, 44-40 was a tight one, and then 32-20. Like only 2 games within a score here.
Honestly, I get just like you said, Tigres are a good example. They get blown out last week, and then they come and they have a great game against average Joes. It's really any the expression any given Sunday. It's really any given Saturday. It just depends which team is going to show up. If your quarterback's going to have a good game or not. Some teams I think get better against others, like matchup wise. So I think we would be seeing a
Yeah,
little
like
bit.
Tigres that win against Average Joe was huge for them because they were sitting at 2-4 before 2-3, and then going out and losing to the Villains, they would have been a 400 team, right? And they would have bumped out Bins from a playoff spot. So like it's up and down the season for everyone here. Let's get into some of these games. So obviously I played in this one. Um, Rejects are a really good team, great defense. It was hard to throw against them. Dobbs, outstanding quarterback. Eric is clearly his guy. Like there's a lot of ballers on this team, and like I was surprised that Alex wasn't used more in this game. Obviously, he missed a lot of games for them, and he's not there as frequently. But like Eric is clearly his go-to guy in like every down situation, whether it's in the red zone, first, fourth, whatever. And understandably so. Eric's a freaking baller on this team. A few injuries for rejects though. I hope Giovanni's okay. Looks like he caught like maybe something in his lower back. Didn't seem that serious. Hope he's okay. And hope the rusher Jean Sebastien is okay. Towards the end of the game, you know how you've seen this happen often. You know when the quarterback throws and the rusher goes to get the flag and he gets an elbow to the face, kind of thing.
Oh,
Um, yeah, unfortunate thing. Obviously, complete accident. I'm sorry once again. I think he kind of thought that I did it on purpose for some odd reason. Like I don't even know how to throw a ball properly. So like I don't know how, I won't be able to do something like that and end up throwing the ball. So I can understand that he in the moment he was a little upset, but like I hope he's doing well. Luckily, he didn't get anywhere near his eye or anything. So yeah. On our side, Ryan getting 2 touchdowns, Max being the main go-to guy there. But Victor getting a pick on the first play of the game, Dobbs trying to test him deep, and Victor hauling it in. Yeah, Victor's been huge for us, especially on defense. But we got to play better if we want to make these playoffs and make a run.
that's impressive. I didn't realize Dobbs threw a pick on the first play and then goes
You didn't read the play-by-play at all.
no, that was no, I just saw the final score and I said, oh boy. Like
Converts were also a big thing in this game. We were 0 for 5, whereas they got 3, 4 converts in total. So that was big. So even Eric being the main guy on convert attempts, howling in 3 total converts. Um, I saw a bit of this game, and I saw Ludovic drinking beer before the game, so I was confident that Rossas had a good chance. And then I saw no Andrew Grant for nice TD, so then I'm like, okay, this one's in the bag. It's for sure a win for Rossas. Well, all kidding aside, next season we're missing a lot of players. They're missing Andrew, obviously, but also Nico and Small. But Rossas too are missing. I think they're missing a few players as well, but notably Antoine Theroux um, and Yvan Desjardins. So like you can say that they're both teams are missing their top guys, right? Um, Great ball distribution by Ludovic. Like obviously, Gaboucher is your wide receiver one in this game, but look at that. He has one, two, three, four, five players with at least 4 catches, over 30 yards for all of them. 4 different receivers catching a touchdown here. Very surprising to see. I know Guillaume's missing Andrew, but like still very surprising to see him only complete 9 passes. He still had Ben Faubert, Nicolas, Ben Lepetit, Matt Lacour subbing for them. Like he had like good enough players, and I say good enough as it's sounding like as if it's negative, but like Ben Faubert's a baller, right? Like 2 catches for 26 yards. Like why didn't Ben fill that Andrew Grant role and get that 9 for a $120 stat line? Um, yeah, I guess like Ross Haas's defense is good. And I also noticed in the play-by-play, Rossos were taking a lot of time off the clock with their drives, so that for sure helped out as well. But yeah, nice City's first loss in a while.
yeah, I agree with you on this one. Look, obviously not having Andrew, one of the best players in MFL, is a big loss for them. But yeah, we've seen Ben Faubert put up numbers even with with Andrew in the lineup, so it was a little bit surprising. And we know about Guillaume, a great quarterback, one of the best. I'm not sure about the stats, but I think he probably in contention for QB of the year. Only putting up 12 was surprising. Not a huge loss for them, because they're going to most probably make the playoffs, but a huge win for Rossos to keep their slim-ish playoff hopes alive. They now sit half a game out of a playoff spot, so it's definitely, the game meant more to Rosses, and I think that's sometimes, you just see that, right? A team needing a win a little bit more, and nice TDs. If they won, they could have been in the one seed, so getting that first round bye. So still a fairly big loss for them, but Rossos maybe you just say wanted it a little bit more this game.
Yeah. So I didn't see any other games. We could talk about one more. Which one do you want to pick and dissect the stats?
We got to go Phoenix and the villains. I texted you saying I couldn't believe Kevin put up 7 TDs, but also
You
to
texted me
zero
that?
picks. Yeah, I texted you and you said yeah you were surprised too. Or look at your text later.
I thought
Um,
you texted me that. Okay, I'll go check
yeah,
it out.
yeah. And again here, right? Phoenix basically saving their season. If they lose this game, they're sitting at 2 3, so sitting at 2-6. That would be a lot to climb out of. Pregame I would have picked the villains to win the game. But credit Phoenix and Kevin, 7 TDs to no picks. Jeremy Thompson O'Reilly only 50% completion rate, which is a little bit surprising. I guess he went deep a lot with those 205 yards. JF, what more can you say? 6 catches, 111 yards, 3 touchdowns, and getting a pick on the day. And Josh, 4 touchdowns with a pick himself. So it was a lot of the Kevin, JF, and Josh Levine show for
Yeah, Kevin must
Phoenix.
have been yelling a lot in this one.
Yeah,
Zach Lemaire, 3 huge sacks, containing Jeremy, which is very difficult to do. So yeah, what division would you like to go to next?
let's go Div 1.
So did we have a lot of D1 games? Yeah, we had 3 games within D1, which is considered a lot. Um, I didn't see this. I ref this one. So A team had a little bit of a losing streak going on, I think, before this one. Yeah, 2 game losing streak after a 3 game winning streak. They were sitting at 3-3, uh, and they were firing on all cylinders in this game. Obviously, I mean, like the score line is closer than what the game felt. I think, yeah, Pocket Rockets scored late, got a convert, but this was a very one-sided game. Dave had 2 picks that he would like back, both to Alex Zapliski. We'll talk about 18 first, and we'll get into Pocket Rockets. 18 played as a team, as a unit. Whether they had good play, bad play, cheering themselves up, and rallying behind Dave. So like that's something they got to keep in mind, right? Like when everything goes good from the beginning to the end, it's very easy to have that attitude and continue that. Obviously, you'd love for them not to for that not to happen for them going forward because you want to make the playoffs instead of them because it's kind of like an Arnolds or 18 that's going to make it on that last spot. But if they could keep that demeanor, like that calm, cool collectiveness, and like each guy individually could have it, but then as soon as one guy goes off, it's like a domino effect, right? And if they could just, even when it's a bad play or a bad sequence or a bad series, turn the page. Because like when they're gonna play against teams like you, like KOB, like Outlaws, they're not gonna dominate from beginning to end like they did in this game. So it's gonna be important for them to stay in it and as a whole. And if they do that, I think they're just as good as anyone in the whole division. Like they definitely have the talent. Like on paper, I think they're probably the top team in this division from a talent perspective. Like when you look at their lineup from top to bottom, like I don't think many other teams could match up to the same like plethora of weapons that they have. So it's really gonna be about staying cool in those games, right? And in Division One, you're not gonna win games with the other team scoring like single digits. It's gonna be high scoring. You're gonna get scored on a lot. It's gonna be how you're gonna come back and get back up and continue playing.
It's a great point, right? It's you're not going to see some like 40 to 6 games that you see in other divisions. And look, you can see that this team in this game, offense complemented defense, defense complemented offense, holding Pocket Rockets to only 3 TDs. Dave, throwing those 5 TDs. Obviously, Andrew not playing in this game as well. Ball distribution good. You got 4-6-2, 5-4 there as well. And like you said, it was a big game for A team because right now they're half a game in a playoff spot, just ahead of us. Does that officially eliminate
Yes.
Hockey Rockets? Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen a stat line of 3 touchdowns on 6 total yards?
And on 4 catches,
An average of 1.5, but 3 touchdowns. Like I'll take that.
that's it's pretty impressive. That's like some like a fullback type stuff.
Yeah, so you see, like people were complaining a lot. Well, I mean, a few people were complaining a lot about only having 3 playoff teams in Division One. But when you look at it from this way, like imagine if 4 teams would have made the playoffs. The remaining were like we're just slightly past midway through the season, with half the teams, well, 2 teams playing only 6 games. The rest of the season would have meant squat, right? It would have just been for positioning. And like every time we had 14 make the playoffs, it was always an upset, so it didn't really mean anything either. So at least now there's still something to play for in this Division One, right? Because
That's
even if 4 teams made it, Pocket Rockets would still be eliminated right now.
that's crazy. Already would have been decided.
Yeah, like Ireland with 6 games played at 500 would have clinched a playoff spot, which to me is ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
you can't have played close to half your season and be 500 and have clinched a playoff spot. We're rewarding participation at that point. We're literally telling you go to the field, win half your games, and you can lose the last 4 and end the season 3-7, and you'll make the playoffs. Like if to me that's not a big enough argument that 3 teams out of 5 is the correct way to do it, I don't know what is.
It's true. I think like this is like you you couldn't have asked for anything, but like from your point of view to to prove your stance on the three of the 5 making the playoffs, right? I think that it's a little bit more competitive. Like it's rare you see a team go 0-8 in Div One, but it's you're right. For this year, at this point, it would have been just about positioning, and I guess it kind of makes that the 1 seed even more important, right? That's to get a free bite of the finals. So
It's not
right
free,
now,
you work for it.
yeah, exactly.
Ain't
No,
nothing
true.
free about it.
Yeah, no, touche. And let's say KOB wins their next game. They're only 1 game behind Outlaws for that final spot. But you're right, it makes the rest of the games huge. And I was looking at the schedule, and it could very well come down to that last regular season game between A Team and Iron Wolves for the last spot.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, 8 teams last 2 games against KOB, Iron Wolves. Oh, look, 8 teams rest of the schedule is Outlaws, KOB, and Iron Wolves.
Yeah, not easy.
Not easy, but if you want to be a playoff team, you're going to play against the 3 teams that are in contention for making the playoffs, right? So at least you can very well say that they control everything ahead of them, right?
But yeah, if
Yeah,
they win that,
if they win out, they clinch because they would have beat Iron Wolves.
exactly. Yeah. It's you're right. It makes for every week, as Manu was saying in our group chat. Every week it becomes a playoff game.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of wanted. We wanted these Division One games to be meaningful every single week, and not just have you have a string of 3 straight losses and not care.
Fair enough.
Why the hesitation?
Well, because I would have liked to have clinched a playoff spot already.
In a free way, right?
Yeah, we still got 3 wins.
What division you want to go to next?
Let's go. Let's go women's.
So you said women's, right?
Yep, let's get it.
We had our game of the year in the women's division. So all season long, we were talking about Tigres and Steelers being undefeated, right? And we weren't talking about it the same way. Even though Tigres and Steelers were both undefeated, we were it wasn't even a 1A, 1B situation. Prior to this weekend, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had Tigres at 1 and Steelers at 2, right?
Yeah,
And even though they were putting up similar score lines, the Tigres were the defending champions. We've seen what they could do. And Tigres had 7 points against coming into this game. 7 through 6 games. They were averaging a point against a game. And Steelers scored on their opening two drives. So within the first 5 minutes, Tigres got scored more points than they've had in the first 6 games combined. This game was all Steelers from beginning to end. Now, unfortunately, it looked like Paula was nursing an elbow injury from like the beginning of the game. Like she kept like massaging her arm and like like stretching it out, and like it just looked like she wasn't comfortable with her arm. I can understand her trying to still throw in this game given the magnitude of it, but I really hope it's not like a long-term injury and she'll be fine going forward, because that's not why this is going to be the finals rematch, right? Like it has to be. And Tigres gonna have to come with a better game plan, because we know Nestor and the Tigres cooked up something good during the week, right? Like we know they plan for their games and they practice and all that. But this was all the Steelers show. Like Brenda Leonard clearly showing that she's the best quarterback in this division. 17 for 33, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yed Melissa Ann, 8 for 103. Kelly Ananya, who's probably like the MVP of this team at this point, 5 for 83, 2 touchdowns, also with 2 picks, including a pick six. Karine with 2 sacks, Harmony with a sack in this one. Melissa Ann getting 2 picks as well, returning them both for pick six. She was huge in this game. Like she was unstoppable in this game. Like I repped a few other Steelers games and she had like a good game, but this must have been her breakout game. If you look at the stats from the season, like just remember she had 8 for 103, right, and 2 pick sixes. She had 10 catches prior to that game for just over 100 yards. She almost doubled her output in this one game that she had through 3 games. And on the defensive side of things, yeah, she already had 2 picks, but getting 2 more picks in this game, like huge performance from the whole Steelers team, but especially Mason, Kelly, and Brenda. Like I was really impressed. Like my jaw was on the floor. Like I was repping this game with Steve, and like there was the I think it was a nice TDs Brossard game going on at the same time, and we were on the side of we were Terrier, and you know how the bleachers are like closer to the fence when you come into the park. It's like naturally that's where the fans will sit, right?
Yeah.
And we had more fans in between the two fields watching the women's game than we had watching the first place nice TDs at that time playing against the Rossas team. People got up from the bleachers come watch that game because they knew the magnitude of that game, and it was pretty impressive. And then I told Steve it's gonna be a great game, got to be on point and everything. And he's like, "Who do you think has it?" I'm like, "It's hard not to pick Tigres, right? Like they're undefeated, defending champs. How do you not pick them?" And like at the very least, I thought it'd be a close game, and this was not close at all. Like, what were your first impressions when you saw the score?
I had to. I was shocked at that double take. Honestly, like I was thinking that maybe Paula wasn't there for Tigres, or Tigres were missing a bunch of their stars. But like you see, like you said, Paula was maybe nursing an injury, so unfortunate for that. But like that isn't equivalent to a 37-7 win for Steelers. Man, like this was impressive. I would have loved to have seen some of this game, but you were right though, because we didn't really have, like in some divisions we go 1A, 1B, even maybe like another team that's close to the number one spot. But I really had Tigres at number one in the power rankings, and then Steelers at two. And to win by 30 against an experienced team, a team that just won the championship in Tigres, and doing it both sides of the ball, right? It's not like they win this game 7-6, or they win this game 37-30, right? They score 37 points against the best defense in the division, and they hold probably the best offense in the division to 7 points. So right now, regardless of injury, not injured in that game, Steelers have to be one in the power rankings, and I'm
Oh,
really curious.
that goes without saying. Like,
Yeah, yeah, I'm
but
really curious to see how Tigres bounce back, because in this division it's the top top is it top four?
Yeah, top four make the playoffs.
It's top four. So being the one team that doesn't give you a bye or anything, but
Gives you the home field advantage. I mean, the coin toss that you win.
yeah, and it's still like you're playing the four seed rather than the three, which is which is
Yeah,
always important there. And then yeah, look, unless we're seeing a major upset in the playoffs, this will be a championship rematch.
yeah, and they play against each other in 2 weeks on October 19th. So Steelers have not yet clinched the first round. The one seed. Sorry, not that it means all that very much, like you just said, but at least for Tigres, they get to match up against that Steelers team once again prior to meeting in the playoffs, right? And we'll just see if it was just a like. It's tough to have a perfect season, right? You're bound to have a slip up. It just so happened that their slip up came up against the other best team in the division, and it was ugly. Um, they could have had a slip up against another team and it wouldn't have showed, but this one it showed pretty bad. Um, so the other games that happened here, we had Des Drapeau taking care of Dirty Charlotte by the score of 33-0. Looks like Vivian Plot's back at the quarterback position with Daphne being her main target, 8 for 57, 2 touchdowns. You have Charlotte St. Pierre also catching 7 passes for 55 yards and a touchdown. Florence Elizabeth also getting a touchdown there. Um, yeah, shout out to Loriane on defense with 3 picks. Daphne also getting a pick. Noemi with a sack in this one. Maud Dessert for Dirty Charlotte with 2 sacks. Captain Joanie with an interception. And you see, look, they had Ariane Leboeuf at quarterback, struggling here, 5 for 21, only 28 yards, 4 picks, no touchdowns. You're an experienced veteran D1 quarterback, William Power, in this league. What would you tell Ariane to help her out here with the remaining games?
Yeah, it's tough. Look at Duricha Latte. I think they're still looking for their first victory, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so sitting at 0-6. Believe it or not, slim chance of making the playoffs if they could go win out and get some help. But it's tough. They only scored 18 points on the season. You want to improve from game to game. I'd be curious. I wonder what the playbook is like. I think oftentimes try and overcomplicate things. And maybe that's what's happening with Dirty Cha Latte. Stick to you have like five, 6 plays you go to, and then once you get into the red zone, you have two, maybe 3 plays that you like implementing. I think it's just about getting completions, right? Having only five completions in their last game is tough. Keep it short, like you said. It's like we talked about on the show. You need 3 yards of play, right? And then you go for on fourth down and you pick up the first down. So you don't need the 45 bomb every play. Keep it short, and
Yeah.
then when the defense
Yeah,
defense
same.
jumps
Keep
up,
it short and simple.
that's it. And yeah, hopefully they. I'm not sure if they're playing this weekend, but hopefully they have a better.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better. Oh no, they're playing Dirty Crazy Bees. So there will be only one winless team after this weekend.
There you go. Curious to see what Dirty Charlotte implement.
And this last women's game on the week that we had, we had Roxane Roy filling in for Kayla on Majestic Divas. Over here, it wasn't pretty, but like Mama always says,
Ugly win is better than a pretty loss.
yes, indeed. Sure, they'll take that. So, yeah, not many sexy stats in this game. Roxane 6 for 46, rushing it in for a touchdown. That seemed pretty nice. Shamika getting a sack. Yeah, Diana James and Roxane getting a pick on defense. But Janie with 2 picks on her side, Joanie and Sarah Jad with another pick themselves. So Dirty Charlotte had something to build upon after this game this past Saturday. So maybe they can take that momentum, especially on defense against the Crazy Bees.
Maybe that'd be a good game. I expect maybe a 13-12 victory for Dirty Chai.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. What division you want to go to next?
Let's go Div 4.
Division 4. Did I see any games here? So Witching Hour continue their dominance, putting up 51 against Sour Peeps. Blue Badgers remain close, winning a tight one against Nothing But D, 13-6. Binet putting up 33 points in the loss. That's pretty impressive. And they also lost to Sour Peeps, which I'm a little bit surprised on that one. Oh, Fat Players defeating the Hawks 38-31. That got to be your upset of the week, right?
It is, but I mentioned on the show, like I was surprised how poorly FAT players were playing. Like they have the players to beat almost anyone in the division. So it's glad they're finally showing some of their potential.
Yeah. Leon having a very clean game, 19-30, 250 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 picks. Tremendous ball distribution there, even though we know he loves his Sean Kennedy. Getting everyone involved. Vincent Martel, 4 for 97, 2 touchdowns. Dylan Rogers, 5 for 53, 2 touchdowns. Doesn't that sound like an NFL player's name, Dylan Rogers?
Yeah, big tight end.
So does Sean Kennedy, 5 for 44. You got Dominic Lassalle, 2 1-point converts and a touchdown. On defense, Martel with the pick, Jean-François Thibodeau with the sack. Yeah, nice high scoring back and forth game here. Rob Boyd, 3 touchdowns. Fine Wine, Elliott Book, 10 for 90. Yeah, Thomas didn't play a bad game. 21-39, almost 200 yards, 5 touchdowns, a pick. Pretty good game. You win most of your games when you play that way.
It's right. Just Leon one step ahead.
Yeah, so let's see this low scoring affair. Blue Badgers, Nothing But D here. So each quarterback only throwing a touchdown, getting more picks than touchdowns. You had Christopher with 7 receptions, 50 yards, a touchdown. The main guy there was the other Giovanni there. Marcel was there, and he's not on the stat sheet offensively. Which is I didn't see the games. Maybe he was there and didn't really play. Maybe he's still recovering from an injury. But yeah, I'm surprised to see these teams have such low scoring. I know they both have great defenses, and Nothing But D truly showing their name to be real. But I feel both these teams could light it up if they wanted to, right?
Yeah, and you could argue that these are like two the better quarterbacks in keeping protection of the ball and moving the ball up the field, moving the chain. So yeah, I was surprised to see is that maybe we'll credit this to good defense. Blue Badgers, I think they're sitting almost top of the division, only the one loss. So a bit of a big loss there for Nothing But D because now they're still in a playoff spot, but it's going to be close because they have teams just behind them at the 7 and 8 spot.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, what was I gonna say? I don't want to cut you off there, and I forgot. Um, yeah. It might come back to me, but big win by Nothing but D over Mustard Tigers, who are battling for that last playoff spot, right? Their records would have flipped if had Mustard Tigers won that game instead. Well, not flip because they don't have the same amount of games played, but the wins at least would have flipped. Mustard Tigers have those 2 games in hand, so they could very well still leapfrog Nothing But D, theoretically. But who are they playing this upcoming week? Let's see. Action Squad, and then Witching Hour. So safe to say they'll be 1-1 at best.
And
You
then
going?
Nothing But D holding the tiebreaker there, right?
Yeah, you going Witching Hour or the field?
Give me the field.
I think I got Witching Hour. Division 5.
Let's go.
All right, so remember how Pick Sixes won a 3-game win streak after
Yep.
season 0-5? Sorry, after starting the season 0-4, they were on a 3-game win streak, defeating 5-1-4 Spartans and Budget Cats, and all pretty convincing wins, right? I was pretty excited to referee this game against Asbin. So, and given the way their season was going, it could have very well been like a kind of an easy game for Pick Sixers, if you will, playing against the 1-7 at the time Asbin, and maybe they took them lightly because they were stringing on a few victories in a row. But this game was not one of their most impressive ones. Very low scoring game, so they get on the score sheet early with a 40 bomb. Actually, it wasn't even a bomb; it was like a 5-yard hook that Mark took to the house, spinning his way away and outspeeding everyone. Uh, yeah, and then very interesting. So, what was the score at one point? The score was 12-10 on a pick two. I'm sorry, on a one second. Yeah, there was a pick one, a 1 point convert, and a safety.
That's like a CFL score.
Yeah, but like if you had a bingo card of like how to get points, and you had a convert from your own team, a convert from the other team, and a safety, all in the same game, you probably win big. So yeah, pick Sixers were down 12-8. They get that huge safety to bring them within 2 points. Score to take the lead. Cannot convert there to get the 6 point lead. And then Asbin score on the ensuing drive. But Pick Sixers had the ball twice after that, and both times ended with an unfortunate interception by them. Um, I ref their first game against Titans, and I ref this game against Asbin, even though clearly was not their best game. The improvement on this team was crazy. Like after that first game against Titans, I thought it would be like a really, really, really long season for them. And even though I don't think they played as good as they could have in this game, and I think they'd agree, um, they have improved tremendously, and they still have a shot at making the playoffs, right? They're only one game out of a playoff spot. And they're playing Big Booties and 28-3. So both definitely winnable games. Both teams just one's ahead of them, one's right behind them in the standings. So huge games.
Yeah, no, it's not like a game you don't want to let slip right against Aston, who were 1-7 at the time. They could have been 4-4, right, and be in a three-way tie for that 7 or 8 spot. But right now they still, I guess you can say, depending who they play, 5-5 control somewhat of their destiny. Because you got to think Titans, Spartans, 5-4. One of them's gonna lose a game somewhere there. But yeah, they're gonna kind of have to go 2-0, I'd say, though, if you're the Pick Sixers.
Yeah. Um, Phoenix finally losing. I know they're missing a bunch of players, but huge win by their last calls there, to bring themselves within one game of the first place. If Phoenix drop another one, their last calls can be that one seed again. Check the women's division doesn't really mean all that much because there's no buys in the Division 5 in that first round. But you will have home field across up until the finals, play weaker matchups. Um, Slicks Titans. I ref this game. Gotta say, a little disappointed in the Titans. They should be better than that. 7 interceptions. They weren't all on Robert Thomas Gallagher, but early in the game, he was launching it up in the middle of the field, and that's always a recipe for disaster. If you want to go deep, sidelines are your best friend. If it won't be a catch, it'll be an incomplete. Look, it's crazy because Biddle had 7 catches in this game, but I feel he could have like 27. Uh, when you look at the Titans' ball distribution this season, you see it's very, very focused Biddle. And I think maybe they're making an effort not to go to him as much to give the more guys more balls. But you see last season, Biddle 66 for 451. He was the best receiver in the division. And from the snapper position, right? And that's pretty rare. But I can't count on my. I mean, there's only just a few plays in the game where he wasn't open. There were very few plays in the game where he wasn't open, and I guess it's you got to talk with the team and see like the what's more important now, prioritizing the ball distribution or winning games. Because I can guarantee you on more than half those interceptions, Biddle was wide open for a 3-4 yard gain in the flat, right? And it's boring football. It maybe sucks for more players, but um, if it works, why go away from it? You know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's Robert does throw a lot to Biddle, but he also has that like the gun slinger in him, right? Like he's gonna launch back and then chuck that ball deep from time to time. So it's about protecting the ball a little bit more, and not to say you don't you don't do that, you don't throw the ball deep from time to time, but maybe you take the shut down to Biddle even a little bit more often, right? Like you said, like at
Yeah,
these also like a good bunch of guys. I don't think they really care who puts up what stat line as long as they're winning the game.
yeah, and they started off strong. I think they started off 3-0 or 4-0. This Titan squad. No, sorry, 4-1. They start off 4-1. Yeah, they played against probably weaker competition earlier in the season, but still, like they've been a perennial Division 5 team, the same group of guys. You got to think they're getting better every season, right?
Yeah, I think so. Learning a few more things, but yes, for 4-4 now, 3 game losing streak, and now you have the what you thought was a guaranteed playoff spot at 4-1. It's really up in the air now.
Yeah, and Slicks really controlled this game from beginning to end. Great game offensively, even more impressive game defensively. Luca taking his checkdowns, distributing the ball pretty well to everyone here on offense. Luca to Lucas was the connection there, catching 2 of the 3 touchdowns to go along with his 6 catches for 30 yards. Um, Look, on defense, you had David with three interceptions, a pick six, Scott 2 interceptions, Pirat with 2 interceptions. It's a great team, very strong defense. Lucas's running ability has that additional threat there. Looking at the standings, yeah, there's quite a few true contenders, right? Phoenix, Slicks, Last Call, Jungle Squad, maybe even Wong Dynasty there. Um, yeah,
It's like with Phoenix losing that game and Slicks winning it. Like you said, the one team doesn't get a bye or anything. But I think this division is really. I don't think you see Phoenix or the field and you're taking Phoenix, right? I think there's a lot of other great teams.
yeah. Brossard or Laval first?
We'll go Brossard.
One or two?
Let's go one.
We covered all Montreal divisions, right? We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and women's.
Yeah, yeah, we did.
Worst case, just do a little write up for them if the. Um, second. Did you have the chance to look at any of the scores here?
I did quickly. I was Spartan strength, showing their muscles. They're winning
Yeah,
two.
flexing their muscles, eh? The
Yeah, big time.
hesitation to go Division 1 or stay in Division 2 prior to the season for them, eh? Their first season in Division 1, and like it was a lot of back and forth conversations, weighing in the pros and the cons of that decision and all that. Well, thank God they're not in Division 2, or else it would have been very, very boring for them and very, very sucky for the rest of the division there. Um, Southsiders keeping their playoffs alive with that win over Punishers. Um, yeah, so a lot could happen here with Southsiders playing against Old School this upcoming week. Red Knot Skins we want to buy. They got a double header now against Iron Chiefs and Punishers. Uh, it's looking out to be a pretty competitive Division 1 in Brossard.
Yeah, the Southsiders, like you said, they lose that game. They're two games out of a playoff spot, so now only one, almost a playoff game for them.
Let's use this time to shout out a few guys here. So obviously Manu sitting at the top of the receiver ranks. Only 4 games, 32 catches, 383 yards, 7 touchdowns. You got Nicholas English in 6 games, 34 for 407 and 8. Um, Craig Browning and Vincent, along with Alec, tied to touchdowns. Pretty impressive, especially Craig through 4 games only. Danny Carrier and Chad Byers battling it out for the best quarterback in this division. Avery not far behind. We add the rushing, maybe he'll be even closer. Oh yeah, 7 rushing touchdowns, over 300 yards rushing for Avery there. Clearly, quarterback with 34 total touchdowns. Look at that 999 for the interceptions there.
Yeah, it's like that's right. Six games, 9 picks. That's just over 1 pick a game. Usually when you're throwing 1 pick, you're winning most games.
Especially when your touchdown to interception ratio is that high, right?
True.
Defense, you got Riley and Craig leading the way. Interceptions, Colin with 9 sacks through 7 games. You got Nicholas English with 7 through 6. And then Maxim with 5. Mohammed with 4. A lot of ballers in this division.
I like it.
Let's see Division Two. We'll actually start out with the stat leaders there before looking at the standings, but there were some huge games where I want to talk about. So Harry on impact, leading the way in yards. You got Nicolas Saint Pierre leading the way in touchdowns, and Tyler McPherson with 50 catches to lead all Brossard Division Two. The quarterbacks, you have Mike Arsenault on impact, and then Dobbs not far behind. Louis with Les Perchots, pretty high touchdown to interception ratio there. We were just talking about it. Any rushers here? Not really that stand out. On defense, Maxime Baudin, 15 sacks through 7 games, averaging over 2 sacks a game. That's huge. And then you got Tyler with 6 picks through 7 games, and Nicolas Saint Pierre tied with Stephen Weiss and Anthony Smith, all with 5. So let's look at the standings now, because there were here it's only 3 out of 5 teams make it. One gets a bye to the finals. Les Perchots were sitting comfortably at the 1 spot throughout the whole season. Forfeit loss last week, take the L against Impact this week, and now they're sitting in the 33 spot. Obviously,
Huge.
yeah, I still think they're safe, and there's no real worry about them not making the playoffs, right? Had Banana Bits been able to win against Furious Not Fast in that 1 point affair, maybe then would have had a different take right now, because they would have been half a game out of a playoff spot. But yeah, Perchot playing against White Lightning, Impact playing against Furious Not Fast. So if Perchot win and Furious Not Fast win, Perchot and Impact will be tied at the 2 spot, half a game behind that first place, and then that race for that number 1 seed is going to ramp up with just a week or 2 left in the regular season.
That's Banana Blitz must win this weekend. You kind of gotta finish the season 2-0, go 5-5, and then see what happens with Les Perchots. But excited to see what's gonna happen with the huge and all important in 1 seed, right? Getting that bye to the championship game.
Yeah. And now for MFL Laval. Nice picture, eh?
Oh, Dalla, like that. It's you're in it.
Make sure to read our articles, by the way, by Max Rosenfeld, writing for Laval and Brossard. Pretty good articles, not many mistakes there. Not any mistakes. But yeah, we had a bunch of games. We'll look at the standings real quick. Very tight standings. You have a team that's over 500 right now on the outside looking in. In the Gators. Gators were 4-1 coming into this weekend. They leave the weekend 4-3, actually getting destroyed in both their games against D-Nasty and the Bandits. D-Nasty is a great team. They've played a lot of great games. I think this might be one of Kevin Marion's best games ever. 18 of 26, over 200 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 picks, and he was missing a lot of his guys. They were just 6 players getting a sub as well. Missing a snapper, missing Maxime Fournier was one of his top targets. But guys stepped up. You got Sebastien Béchard, 3 touchdowns, 6 for 95. Fred Lavoie, another 3 touchdowns for him, 6 of 52. On defense, Sebastien Béchard, 2 picks. Fred Lavoie, an interception. He had Reginald getting a sack. Um, Great game by them and really like solidifying themselves as one of the top teams here, sitting at 5-2 now. Especially since Panthers V2 getting the loss against Galactic Fun. Like I really feel anyone could beat anyone in this division, maybe minus the Wonder Dogs. Um, but they even put up 25 points against Les Vilains in this one. High on audibles. Hopefully, Rob Prudhomme is recovering well from his injury. I heard it might be a little more serious than we hoped for. They had a roster player filling in instead of getting a sub. That's always great to see. And Mathieu Graton, actually, for a guy that hasn't really ever played the quarterback position, pretty much balled out in this game. 17 to 24, 179, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Obviously, the 3 pick sixes on defense helped him tremendously there. Um, yeah, anything else that caught my attention?
We're sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, were Gators missing? Well, Amonte played in both games for them.
Yeah, yeah, it was a
Wow.
weekend to forget for him.
Uh,
I think he's not on the team anymore after that weekend. 4-1, everything's going well. Lose 2 games in a row, and now his priorities are changing a little bit. Um, yeah, Bandit's putting up 55 there. But really, like you look at the playoff teams, the top 6 teams, which I think is most probably going to stay this way, and that Laval first championship is wide open. Like there's seasons where there's the top dog. Like even like we said, Witching Hour the field, Phoenix the field. We're saying like, oh, maybe you took the field in both cases, right? But there's still that top dog to get past. Like Phoenix and Witching Hour, if you want to win a championship, you have to get past them. It's going to be tough. It won't be easy. Chances are someone might beat them if they have 3 rounds of the playoffs to get through, but it's going to be difficult. It's like you every time now in winning a Division 1 championship, you got to get through Outlaws or A Team or something. Like it's not going to be easy. But this MFL Laval season, you don't have that top dog that's been that perennial champ. Obviously, you cannot because it's the first season, but like I said, anyone could beat anyone. So it's like that. It's the season for that middle of a pack team or that 5 and 6 team squeezing to the playoffs to make that run and potentially win a championship in their first season in MFL Laval. It just feels that way. It's like there was no mistake here. There was no team that's running that's destroying everyone, right?
I mean, look at the standings from first place to seventh place. You have one game separating each team, right? And you have 3 teams tied at 5-2, 4 teams at 4-3. Look, the standings really speak for themselves. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it is indeed. Alrighty. I think that just about does it for the show.
Good stuff. Do we have time for bold predictions?
We could get bold if we get it quick.
Yeah,
What division you want to go to?
I'll do uh I'll do women's.
Oh yeah, I like that. You got yours?
Okay, let's see. Steelers, DS, Majestic Divas.
I got mine.
Okay.
I'll go
Okay.
women's as well.
Yeah, you
Double
okay,
dip on the women's division.
you go first.
Okay, so we know how we just we weren't talking about Steelers as the perennial like the top contender all season long. They just beat the Tigres. I like giving a storyline my bold prediction. I don't know if you've noticed, but instead of just spitting it out, you gotta build up for it. They just beat the Tigres. They're finally the team to beat in this division. They're finally the team that we're giving all the attention to. And they get there on October 12th at 9 in the morning, and they get upset by Majestic Divas. And not only that, Majestic Divas also beats the Drapeau later that day in the afternoon, going 2-0 and bringing their record to 6-2 and making a push for that top seed with 2 games to go, given that Steelers and Tigres will both have 1 loss and they'll just be 1 game behind. How do you like
Yeah,
that?
I like that one a lot. Okay, that one's a really good one. Shoot, it's gonna be tough to top that one. I'm gonna say DS against Majestic Divas. We've seen the quarterback situation kind of flip back and forth between Vivian and Daphne, right, for DS. So I'm gonna say Vivian goes quarterback in this game. Daphne stays receiver, and Daphne gets not one, two, three, four, five, but six receiving touchdowns in the game against Majestic Divas.
That has to be a women's record for sure, and probably an MFL record. Be looked interesting. I'll be curious to look that one up if it happens.
Yeah,
I got
I'm not sure the record there for the women's, but yeah, I'm gonna say six TDs there. So DS get the dub against Majestic Divas.
I got a bonus one. Crazy Bees Dirty Chai Latte going into overtime.
Okay, I like that one.
That's all for today, folks. We'll see you Saturday all at Le Bear, or Sunday in Brossard or Laval.
Hey,
Hope you enjoyed the show. Let us know what part of it you didn't enjoy as much, or what you did enjoy. And if you want to ref, hit us up. We'll get you all set up. Also, playoffs. Look at the schedules; they're already up for the most part. Make sure everyone in your team's aware. There won't be any surprises.
Playoffs right around the corner, folks. It's getting chilly out there.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week. See you guys Saturday.
See you, gang.